Hi, I'm Nick Horton. I'm the founder of the Fourth Space. Today, I want to take you through a case study. And in the case study, we'll take you through many aspects of your purpose branding, your authenticity, and how we connect it to your audience, which ultimately ends up in a little book of you. And we are going to start with color. Aha, so I surprised you. So we suddenly added a bit of color. And yes, your perception of me and your surroundings has just changed. Your mood will have changed, feelings will have changed, a lot will have changed, and that is the power of color. It doesn't, we're one of the few animals in the animal kingdom that I'm aware of. I'm not a scientist, but we have three color cones, which gives us millions of different colors we can see. A lot of animals, like dogs, only have two. It gives us I guess, a Darwinian advantage in the cycle of evolution, and also gives us a wonderful world full of color. So without any further ado, we'll jump into show you how you can use color within purpose branding with your authenticity, how it connects you, who you are, through color psychology to your audience. Before we bump into the case study, there's a few mythbusters to kick us off. I think there's three ways that we perceive color. But the first one is cultural. So in China, red is seen as a lucky color. I think most people know that. And in this country, white wedding dresses. That was Queen Victoria that started that trend. And in the UK, for example, you turn the room blue with a slightly edgy joke, and in Spain you turn it green. So there we are, and a classic example of cultural difference. And then we have our own personal experiences of color. And therefore we have our favorite colors and colors we hate, and that's associated with a person, an action, an event that had a certain color that had an impact, on a strong negative or positive impact on us. Colors you might dislike, might be a teacher or an aunt or whoever, somebody who used to wear yellow, and therefore you associate that yellow with maybe that person, and subconsciously you don't like yellow. And then the bit we're going to talk about in greater depth is color psychology, which is where color hits the retina and goes to the hypothalamus and affects the core functions of our body, and that is universal to everybody. So the blues will stimulate the brain. The red will stimulate the heart rate, pulse, and it stimulates a flight or fight reaction. Greens are kind of like a balance between all three when you have a sense of harmony, and yellow affects our emotions. So now we'll jump into a case study, and we've got that as a kind of like our base camp, if you like, and we'll see how this can be translated into your purpose branding. Well, first off, on top of color psychology, we have color harmonies. First off is color harmonies. Color harmonies take advantage of the fact that at certain latitudes, humanity has evolved with colors that are seasonal. And therefore, we find these colors very harmonious and something that we are attracted to more than anything else, and we feel comfortable with. So we take advantage of this when we're looking at your branding colors, because what we don't want to do is start putting colors that aren't harmonious, and at a subconscious level might put people off or turn them away, because we're all in this this digital world where we've got 2 or 3 seconds to attract people's attention, and if you lose it for whatever reason, it can be expensive. So I've put the 4 color seasons up for you to see there. These use a system that is being developed by Angela Wright and has been tested by academics at university, and can be certainly boiled down to mathematical formulas based on the amount of blue, green, blue and yellow, and the amount of tonal colors, which can literally be reduced to numbers within your color codes, your RGB codes, CYMKs, and HSB codes, for those who want to get all technical. But you don't need to worry about that if you're not into the technical stuff. Just it is a scientific base. I'll give you a few moments to see what you think those color combinations are. When you first looked at them, you might have already been thinking about this a little bit. So the big reveal is that the top left is winter, top right is spring, the bottom left is autumn, and the bottom right is summer. Winter has those very high contrast colors. We have very rich, deep blue tones, and very light, like the frost you see, I guess. And spring is the kind of very clear and strength of color. Those pure colors you see when the natural world is coming to life. And then autumn is everything starts to die, and you have those rich, deep yellow-based colors. And down in the bottom right-hand corner is summer, which is blue tones. But if you think of like summer as being that really strong, hazy sunshine where everything gets slightly bleached and has that slightly hazy feel to it, those are the colors we associate or harmonize in summer. And this is how we take one color, for example, a green. All greens are not born the same. This is how we look at, I mean, obviously there's ranges of colors. So to be clear, those 4 seasons, they cover all 360 degrees of the color wheel, or every color within the visible spectrum, I should say. But this is how you would classify roughly the greens. There is a range of colors, and obviously on the border it gets a little bit subjective. But as I say, then that's when you go back to the more scientific or mathematical based way of looking at these things. Again, it's just reiterating what I've just been saying about the 4 seasons, but we're just taking one color now. And you can see how you've got the bright, clear colors of spring, the rich yellow colors of autumn, the slightly grey blue tones of summer, and the blue but strong tones of winter. I mean, or they could be we haven't put the lighter side of that in, but this is just the darker tones in this one. So we start off with a fireside chat, which is exactly as it sounds. It's just having a little. It's like having a chat around the pub, really, more than anything else. But that's the way it should feel to you. Obviously, what we're trying to draw out is really kind of like what your inner drivers are, and what makes you live, thrive, and survive. What are your passions, more than anything else? And can take anywhere between an hour and a half, 2.5 hours, depending on how verbose, how much you want to talk about, and how much time you have, indeed, in some cases. And then that we use various pieces of software, and we, if you like, visualize the conversation into the words or themes that you've used most into word art, which is what you're looking at just now. And that is almost like shining a mirror on your inner drivers, and it's something that we then use as a base, if you like, to go do a deeper dive into the colors and the color psychology, design psychology of your purpose brand. The fireside chat video is recorded. As well as being a base for the color psychology and design psychology, we can spin off many other assets which we do include in your personal branding, which comes into the little book of you, if you like. But we'll come on to that later. For the moment, we'll focus on the color side of the branding. So actually, it's worth just taking a moment out here to chat through the co-creative process. It's something that's unique to what we do in the fourth space in our branding, the way we approach branding. We don't see it as branding is something we give to you. It's something we create together. And I think that's really important to understand, because if we co-create together, you understand it. If you understand it, then you're able to support us in building it. Most importantly, it allows you to step into that brand. It's something that you own and understand. So part of that now we understand what the co-creative process is. We start off by, the co-creative process starts off by distilling down the word art into 3, 4, 5, however, whatever you feel comfortable, themes or words, which are then used to create the color psychology. So here we are with Sanjay. This is what his colors got distilled down to. The deep blue was his scientific approach to life. Everything he does, he likes to have a scientific base to it. So we took a very remember I was telling you blue was the kind of stimulation of the brain, but he just does a deep dive into his understanding of his subject matter. He works on emotional mastery. So we went for a very deep blue. If you like, his away days or his weekend retreats have a very ethereal feel to them, because the whole weekend is around understanding emotions, and so purple would be a very good color to represent a more spiritual or ethereal feeling, which is part of who Sanjay is. He's done a lot of self-development himself, and obviously now he's taken that learning and using it to help others. And then again, part of what Sanjay, we found with Sanjay, was that inside of him was this real raw anger, power. So we decided to give that a voice. That's one of the top 3 themes that came out, and we used a deep raspberry tone. So it wasn't quite the pure raw red, because it does, this power or raw power does have a more kind of maternal feel to it. So we've onto a kind of like a dark raspberry color, if you like. And I'll stop and pause for a second. Can you tell which season this is? I know I've only just briefly introduced it earlier, but let's give you a quick pause to see if you can have a guess. So it's winter. Each of the seasons has a personality, and winter tends to be very kind of avant-garde, very standoutish, very direct and impactful, which is again in line with how people experience Sanjay and his work, and we wanted to make sure there was an authenticity in that coming out in the branding. So then we use those 3 colors, and so that's the colors as they are in equal proportion. So the next thing we want to look at is what kind of proportions do we want to give to the branding. A third given to that really strong raspberry is going to be very, very powerful, might be a little bit overpowering for the kind of the authenticity of what we're trying to create here. There is a dash of, a hint of, definitely part of Sanjay is that raw power, and as I say, it has a maternal feel to that raw power, but I don't think a third would be, even if you look at those 3 colors as they are beside each other, your eyes tend to get drawn to that raspberry a little bit too much, and it could overpower, and almost the other 2 colors would almost blend into insignificance. Here we have the colors in proportion and incidentally design, but we'll talk about proportion first. So we decided that because everything that Sanjay does has a base or is encapsulated in science, so we said try and use it as more of a bordering color, if you like. And then the room has that ethereal or spiritual feel to it, so we're going to get that light lilac color. And then the raspberry is just about I don't know, I'm guessing about 10% there. But again, if you look at that, although it's the same 3 colors, has a completely different feel to it now. And we'll look at if you want to go back to this video, look back where your eyes were looking at the 3 colors in equal proportion to where they are focused on now. The design psychology side of this is winter has a very, as we were talking about earlier, kind of standout, avant-garde feel to it, which gives it bold, straight lines. So this is where we've used that in this design. Then we move on to Sanjay's website. Well, I wouldn't say it's before and after, but his top website is what it was definitely before. The after, this isn't the after website, this is me just mocking up his website, so taking it, and this is all part of your your branding, the co-creation. So when we're going through these colors, we are not just giving them 3 blocks and saying, which one do you like? Do you like this? Do you dial it this way, dial it that way? You've got to see the colors in context, all about in context of what it's going to look like in your website and your marketing, and what is, how do the proportions look and feel in reality, not just on a kind of like a design that I've come up with. So this is where we do a mock-up of your website, and again, this is part of the co-creative process of when we're doing the or fine-tuning your colors with you together. Because by this point we'd have developed an understanding with you of what colors we're using, and then when we go into fine-tuning these colors and that co-creative process, we'll actually do it live on a mock-up of your website. And this is Sanjay's website as it was mocked up. And well, I'll leave you to have a look. Which one would you click on? And which one is more visually appealing? Which one is, what's it saying to you? Look at that logo now. It actually pings out of the page. I mean, again, that's the great thing about doing this. We don't have to recreate everything. We can repurpose a lot of the existing assets you have. So we didn't recreate a logo or anything. We just took an existing logo and said, well, there you go. And we'll come on to when he works with his, again, this all goes to a little book of Sanjay in this case, and he uses that to then work with his creative partners, and we'll come on to next and how he interpreted this, how he interpreted this with his web designers. But just for the moment, you can see now the impact of the colors of we're pushing out Sanjay's, the maternal power, if you like, the scientific approach, and the ethereal or the spiritual feel to the weekend retreats and his work in general. But that's the push side of color psychology. The pull side of that is who's going to be attracted to this. So so we don't want this to be a straight boring corporate blue, because that's not who Sanjay is. So that's a great base, because that's part of the, if you like, the visual strategy. Because Sanjay's really looking to connect his audience, if you like, his target audience is professionals who are really looking for an emotional understanding of the impact of their own emotions on the people around them, the business decisions, and ultimately the business success, if you like. So with that in mind as being his target audience, we wanted to give that feel of that kind of like the gravitas that comes with the blue and the kind of like the effect it has on the brain. But also we're saying to you, look, there's a bit of welcome, there's a little bit of power, and there is a little bit of action involved in this. But that's all encapsulated with a spiritual side of things. So audience is really going to start connecting, either connect or not connect with that. In that very first instance, that color is the first thing that's going to hit the retina. And these are the messages you were sending out through the color psychology. Obviously, beyond that, there's the videos, the other assets, and the copy, which come later. But it's all about that initial impact that we're having. So next, we move on to this is how the web designer saw it, interpreted everything, and completely different look and feel to it now. It's very clear. It's very clear messages. I would say it's great because you've used the colors in exactly the right purpose, because we've done a co-creation, because you understand what messages we're trying to give. Sanjay has used these colors with the blue border. It's got the lilac inside, and there's little dots of kind of like maternal power, if you like. And even this wasn't, I can't take credit for this, but we repurposed the logo, but then the logo itself has been repurposed. I don't know if that was Sanjay or it was the web designers, but suddenly you've got it looks like there's this over here. We've got this little like little person. They're starting to soar, and he's got their mastery. He's got the emotional mastery and the self-mastery, and you can see it's like a journey, and that journey has been created using that logo, just little parts of the logo, bring them all together. I think it's much cleaner, it's much more easy to understand, and it gives, certainly color psychology terms, a much clearer message, and it's much easier to pick out what Sanjay is about now in this website compared to the first website. Look at the top of there. There's lots of different mixed messages in there. And finally, this is just a very quick snippet of what we can do with, as I said, with the fireside chat. We can bring together all these different assets and start creating things for social media, for your website. And all we've done here is taken some photographs that Sandy already had, and we took some audio from the fireside chat. We've then given it some branding in terms of the color by adding a border and a logo in the corner. And we brought that all together into bringing something that is a nice little piece of messaging that Sanjay can use in social media. So I'll shut up and let Sanjay do the talking now.
To be clear that it's not a profession, but it's a mindset. It's that as I'm looking for certain traits in people, and to be honest, I knew them at one level, but I wasn't kind of clear at the conscious level. And if you're not clear at the conscious level, then you can't put it down on a piece of paper. It's no good at you being aware that it's there in the unconscious. You still have to be able to use it. And for me to be clear at the conscious level feels like a gift.
So that audio was taken from the fireside chat, and I hope you agree the authenticity really shines through. There's nothing better than, as I was saying, relaxing, chatting about something that's real to you. We've shown you many different ways we can use that, but here's one where we can just take a little clip of that audio, mix it in with a few other assets already out there, and make sure the consistency in terms of the color branding, and wow, suddenly you've got something that's a very powerful message that you can take on to social media or website or whatever medium of choice you choose. So that's us. That's taking you through a very quick run through. There's so much more to know about in terms of the fourth space and how we can help you with your purpose branding. But that's a very quick look at a case study, if you like, and a little bit of the theory around what we do. But please do get in touch. We'd love to hear your story and speak to you all. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.